You already know I'm going in straight out the gate. Got lost for a minute, but I found my way. Now I'm back on my path again, and I'm about to get it cracking like a tree that's about to break. I came out of nowhere, pretty much out thin air. Wasn't anywhere to be found, look, now he's there. I'm about to take everything, better get the shit up, bitch. I'm sticking you up like alfalfa's hair. Southbound, giving out a sound that's rare. When I pick up the mic, it's going down like stairs. I'm making so many moves, been stepping so much. When I'm done, they gon' have to get the ground repaired. They gather round and stare when they hear me spit, cause my shit's so bitchin', call me Karen. Dudes wanna beef, but I ain't got time, cause I'm working around the clock like a watch repairman. Putting in work like Lizzo Chef. When I die, they gon' say that he did it to death. I'm doing infinite reps, but I ain't dripping the sweat, because I got more drive than a limo stretch. I'm about to bust, about to make a big old mess. I'm gonna give you the most, you'll never get no less. It's my turn now, I'm about to apply pressure. I'm like Derek Chauvin, how I get on next.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Right. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Happy New Year. Hi, Meatball. Hi, Tony C. Hi, Pete Thomas. Hello, Nemesis and Hades. Hi, Desert Rain. Lutefisk. Let me see who else I missed. Hello, Soil Lodge and Old Car Restoration and Steve Sippos. And who else did I miss? Seashore Mary. Hello. And Misty Blue and Nathan Ward. No Mercy. Yeah, we're definitely, it's No Mercy today. Who else did I miss? Hello, Jonacide and Wes H. I'm trying not to miss anybody. Hello, Don Lambert, and hello, Chi, and Mercy Choke, and Neutral Observation, and Johnny Danger. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Hello. All right, so hello, AZ. Happy New Year. So what I am going to do is, this is going to be probably one of many where I'm going to posit the theory about, the children, aka the processians that have come out of Westchester County, because there's a lot. And I think that it's worth consideration, especially since, there's so many people that are insistent that the case hasn't been solved, but this has nothing to do with it, right? Because we've got a lot to get through today, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff. Hello, Full Metal Anarchist, and April Eller, and Void of Silence 33. Hello. So I am going to go ahead and run the intro, and then we'll just get into it.
What is the process?
Oh, must we drag all that up again? Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work.
Is it old to the death? Better hold your breath in the cell. I prevail, Freddy said from hell. Ring the bell when you're finished. I'm a grown man and winning. Sacrifice it to the demons. Know I love it when you screaming. Commit to your thought. Do it now or you lost in the darkness. You will never wake up so conscious, anxious. Why are you so scared of feeling pain, bitch? Devil in your soul. Cut it now and then you'll go. Walk on the dark path, kill and you feel that. Never in your life you gotta rush from the kickback. Matt Black Glock 10 knock on the neck, man. Hear the whispering, devil taking over them. Listen to my words of Freddy, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my words of Freddy, tell it do the devil's work. All red on me, got the blood up in your hair. Sign your soul to the devil, now you asking is it fair? Listen to my words of Freddy, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my words of Freddy, tell it do the devil's work. All red on me, got the blood up in your hair. Sign your soul to the devil, now you asking is it fair?
Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell it do the devil's work. Listen to my voice, I'm ready, tell
Don't forget, we are literally out here fighting demons, y'all. And Mercy Choke, no, that was not about you. It's No Mercy, because I have a new motto this year, and it's die mad. die mad. I don't care. Because, there's some people that I've inadvertently upset by uploading documents into the Wayback Machine. So we're going to talk about that too. But we've got a lot to get through. So, what I want to do first, let me pull it up. I just printed the section from the People versus David Berkowitz. I know that some people out here, state that this is a laundering website for, uh, you know, Maury Terry's files, things of that sort. I would disagree because we're also going to look at some of Maury's files. But I have pointed out before that some of the individuals on this website are misidentified. And in my opinion, I think that it's on purpose. And if this website is to launder Timo's files, then why aren't all of his files up there, right? Why are certain people, left out? I don't really know, but we're going to go ahead and take a peek. So, hopefully you guys can see that okay. Like I said, I just printed it. That way it was easier, so there's no ads or anything. Hello, mamas and papas. All right, so here we go. The children. In Yonkers, Detective Kevin Murphy delved into the background of the Son of Sam case and identified several associates of David Berkowitz that hung around Untermeyer Park in Yonkers, New York. They called themselves the Children. According to Detective Murphy's investigation, several of these individuals were older and generally just bad people. Many of these individuals approached by Murphy lawyered up immediately. No one wanted to be implicated in this case. Through off the record interviews, Murphy was able to corroborate the existence of the children and uncovered members who were involved with pornography and the drug trade. Please note these images below are from the personal notes and investigation files developed by Maury Terry and Detective Kevin Murphy over the course of their Son of Sam investigation. These images are of individuals that Maury Terry and Detective Murphy believe may have had some connection to or played some role in the Son of Sam murders and or had involvement in pornography, prostitution, or drug activities. Despite the fact that many of these individuals appear to be low-life scumbags, they have never been charged with any crime associated with the Son of Sam case and should be presumed innocent. Okay, so now we have a little bit of a baseline, right? I'm mostly focusing on the process people, right? But we've got all kinds of folks here, all kinds of mugshots, lots of lovely individuals, right? And we'll be talking about Ace Brown eventually, when we go back to the pornography angle, but let's keep going. Obviously, there's wheat. I think it's fascinating that wheat is on here. Let's keep going. Right here. So here we have the first processian. So, Wendy Ann Cole, aka Peach Cassandra, Reverend Celeste Cole, head of North America Operations, Process Church. Okay, interesting claim. Here we have Suzanne Conway. Let's keep going. And here we have Maria Cortina, aka Suzette Rodriguez. I don't know why any serious investigator would be crossing out the eyes of these individuals in these photos. Which is kind of weird to me. There we have Marianne DeGrimston. Okay. And that's who they have listed as Robert DeGrimston. That's not Robert DeGrimston. But let's just keep going. That way you guys can see all of this. It's kind of long. Carlton Gadusek. And I know that there are people out here that think that all of this is just a crazy conspiracy theory, right? Crazy conspiracy theory. But I want to keep going. That way you can see, because near the end, there's Ken from the process, Dominic from the process. You remember that? Yeah, there he is. We're going to come back to him too. There's Ralph Marcel. Let's keep going. All kinds of people. There's Bill Menser, aka Manson 2. I have some unpopular opinions about whether he's Manson 2 or not, but let's keep going. Lots of people, right? Lots of random folks, it seems. Are they random? Who really knows? Who really knows? We're getting there. We're almost near the end, I promise. We're getting there. Okay, here's some sketches. More mugshots. And there is Steve Trackman. Okay, here we go. Isn't that weird that the eyes are crossed out? Does anybody think that a former detective and Maury would cross out the eyes? I don't really know. I don't really know. I think that it's very strange, but that's what we have. So, if we are going based off of the files, right, according to that website and according to some folks out here, that is the children. Since there are Processians that are identified there, and we're going to revisit some of the Westchester born and bred folks, I don't really think that it's open and shut case. Am I accusing anybody of a crime in particular? No, but I'm also not saying that anybody is exonerated. Now, I am going to show you guys, because I pulled this out of Timo's files, just his section that had the Processians on it. Okay? Then we're going to look at some of my maps. That way you guys can see how I'm kind of tying all of this together. Because I would ask everybody why some of this information is covered up with Post-it notes where it looks like there's maybe episode numbers, some sort of weird marker on these, because I'm operating under the assumption that this is what was selected for the Netflix series, The Sons of Sam, right? Because that's where all of this information comes from, right? That's what all of this is. That's the source of all of this. This is what we're told. And nobody can seem to keep their story straight about that. So, this again, I extracted this from his files. So, right here, again, there's Marianne's passport. That's fine. And this, the S2369, like, what is that? I don't really know. Okay. Here we have street coal, more of Marianne. Now, see this, it has, I don't know if the question mark is for this one, because I think I know who his first name is now. Mr. Is it Greek or Grush? I don't know. The handwriting is terrible. And I know who this is too. But right here. So, let's keep going. Now, EP3, is that episode 3? Is that what that means? Is this episode 3 of the documentary? Now, see, here's Wendy, Cole, Peach, Cassandra, all of her 20 different names, right? So there's 2 photos of her. Now, see, we have Robert Moore S. de Grimston, port of entry, Chicago, aka Robert Moore, INS number, all that stuff. Same with Wendy. Let's zoom in, though, right here. Brother of Robert Day. I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's the brother of Robert de Grimston, right? So why is this covered up by a Post-it note? That's weird. To me, that's very strange. Now, right here, this name, Kevin Anthony Gleason. Now, see, these look like they are in like paper protectors because of the light on this. So you can't really see anything, but guess what? I found him and he's at Best Friends too. Okay? He's at Best Friends too. So let's keep going. And again, right here, another Post-it note blocking out certain information. Now right here, if you zoom in, see where it says Tubal? One of Michael Mountain's church names was Tubal-Cain. And we see an M right here. So I know, why are they covering up Michael Mountain's information? Right? That's very strange. And down here are photos of Robert de Grimston. So let me ask everybody, who has their thinking caps on, why did they put him as Robert DeGrimston on the People versus David Berkowitz website? I say it's because it's purposeful obfuscation of information, right? That's how I feel. Now, this is notes of Maury's. I'm not really going to sit here and get into it. These are his maps as far as kind of breaking down all of this. And I know that some people think that this is all crazy and whatever. So, there's purposeful misidentification of information on that website. You have just now seen it for yourself. I forgot that they wrote Robert DeGrimston underneath Robert's photos, and that's just so stupid to me. I don't even know. But let's go ahead and let's look at, who do I want to start with? Well, I guess, let me pull up DeGrimston first. That way we can peek at that. And I'm going to look at the chat because I see it moving. Give me a second because I wrote down notes today. So I'm hopefully not jinxing myself, but we'll see because I probably am. Yeah, that PowerPoint looks like crap. I'm going to need to pull up my map. Hold on. Uno momento. Let me see the chat. Hello, Jack Whiteside Parsons. Side number, the website is People versus David Berkowitz. I just didn't want any ads. That way it wasn't, laggy, because I know sometimes in the background it can get slow. Let me pull up my DeGrimston map really quick. And my maps aren't perfect, guys. Don't judge me. It's not anything fancy, okay? It's just, it is what it is. I'm doing the best that I can to get all of these done. But let's just start with DeGrimston because, his brother's still alive. His brother's actually a pretty famous glass artist. So I don't know. I don't understand. I would like somebody to give me an honest answer. I'm very frustrated, especially because, there's people throwing darts at me elsewhere. But let's go ahead and look at this one first. Okay, so not a big change from what I had posted in my community section. However, right here, I was able to confirm, that is Robert DeGrimston's brother. He went by Father Phineas, but Andrew Moore. But it's, what is this EP3, episode 3? But what is that? I would love to know. Anyone here work at Netflix or has done a streaming service documentary? I'm very curious, right? And then here we have Robert, and there are all of his AKAs. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 AKAs, so go for it. There's his sister who looks like a Strigoi, very scary. She has a really big head, sorry. And then up here are his parents, right? And I couldn't find a picture of his dad, but I do have a picture of his mother. So that's that. Now, let's go ahead and see. Oh, let's do street. Let me do street Cole. Because I've also identified him. Guess what? He has a really big job at a zoo. These people are all doing exactly what we would think that they were doing if they are still a part of the process, right? So, let's go find Mr. Street right here. So, he goes by Father Eli or Brother Alexander. I think it's interesting, the name Eli, because Victor F. Wilde went by Brother Eli, right? Except for they spelled it E-L-Y. So there is Street Cole. That is the main process photo that I have of him. So, Mr. Cole, well, he married Mother Cassandra Leonora Celeste, aka Wendy Ann Peach, Wendy Ann Cole, W.A. Cole, Celeste Ann Fripp, Celeste Cole. And right there, that is the little tidbit that I was able to pull from Maury's files. Now, was she really the head of North American operations? I don't really know anything about that, but I just went ahead and included it in there. And it is interesting to note that, they were in Texas at this time, because eventually we're going to come back on and we're going to talk about the book that I believe his name is Jared Garrett wrote. I think it's You're Going to Be Okay, Kid. It's a kid that grew up in the process and has some really unpleasant things to say. So, now where does she get the Fripp from? Oh, well, she married Father John Christopher Albin Abraham, aka Christopher Alfred Fripp, John Christopher C.A. Fripp, John Fripp C. Fripp, right? They got married in Kanab. And who else is he connected to? Well, he is connected to Mother Sophia, or Sister Casmira, and Sister Seraphine. We talked about her recently, right? The Eatons, because that's her. So, Catherine Eaton, Catherine Andrews, Catherine Fripp, Magdalene Eaton, Magdalene Eckhoff. Now, who did she end up getting married to? Well, she ended up getting married to Father Joel Maximilian Paul, aka Ernest P. Eckhoff, Ernst Peter Eckhoff, E.P. Eckhoff, Paul Eckhoff, right? And they were married in Kanab. So, you see the incestuous nature of this group, and it gets really, really complicated and really annoying, especially with the wife swapping, right? Now, let's go ahead and let me just pull up my children PowerPoint. And again, I'm simply positing a theory. I'm not telling anybody what to think. But I refuse to be pigeonholed about this topic. And, you don't have to agree with me, and you certainly don't have to watch, but refute what I present factually, not just with your opinion, okay? Because I try really hard to express when I'm stating my opinion, but I also try to prove my point. And you can discredit newspaper research or say that I'm endangering people by uploading documents to the Wayback, whatever makes you feel better about yourself. I don't really know what to tell you. But I would like for people to factually refute me, not come in here with their feelings because they're not getting the recognition that they think that they deserve. All right, let me get this going. Now, I've included some individuals that are just in Maury's files or from that website that, it's kind of flat out established for people who endorse the cult theory, so to speak. They're in this PowerPoint as well. And no, this PowerPoint's not complete. It is always a work in progress. So, right here, so this is Ralph Marcel, right? So, that's all I have about him. Not really going to get into it, not focused on him. There is Brother John Paul, aka John Paul Ranieri. Okay, a lot of people know his story. I'm not going to get into it right now. I have no interest. Here is Suzanne Conway. Okay, she is deceased as of January 3rd, 2001. So, now, remember how I said that I had found Mr. Gleason, right? I found him. So, oops, there we go. There he is. He is the animal control manager and was involved in a project for pets in the Navajo Nation. Isn't that lovely? And he's in Kanab right now, right? But that's where I was able to get that, was from Maury's files, quote unquote, from the People versus David Berkowitz, what they did or didn't include. There's his marriage, and there he is in Kanab running, some sort of radio service. And he has some weird company over here, Stanton Jackson, that doesn't actually exist. I don't know if it's a shell corporation. I can't find anything. So, now, right here, if you're on my Twitter, cool. If not, that's fine. I finally identified Claire Ives. This was a very exciting moment for me. I kind of wanted to scream. So, I shared this, December 16th. Another founder of the Process Church of the Final Judgment, aka Best Friends Animal Society, hails from Westchester County. Her father was one of the biggest real estate moguls in New York. She attended the Dalton School, the same one as Jeffrey Epstein, and she married Father Malachi McCormick, possible associate of Andre Rand of the Cropsey crimes. So, that's my little slide that I put together. I was very tickled about this, and if you're not on Twitter, I obviously went ahead and tagged the post that I had made in July of last year about leaving the Processes volunteer program at Willowbrook out of the Cropsey documentary, right? Because I think that that's pretty relevant. But this is just my opinion. So, this is it a little bit bigger. That way we can see it. Well, there we go. Very interesting lady. So, she passed away December 2021. She was born in Scarsdale and spent most of her childhood there. She attended the Dalton School, Mount Holyoke College, and pursued her PhD in anthropology at the University of Chicago and did her fieldwork in the Yucatan. Do you mean in the Yucatan, like where the process went to find Satan or Satan find them? Or where, according to Scientology, the process was doing paramilitary training? That same Yucatan? Okay. Later, she lived in London, England, Phoenix, Arizona, and eventually settled in Kanab. She married Malachi McCormick, and together they had one daughter, Scion McCormick. They later divorced. Catherine loved animals and was a founding member of Best Friends Animal Society. Blah, 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 blah. She also joined the LDS. Imagine that. Imagine that. I don't really know what to tell people, right? I just think that it's really fascinating, especially that she went to the Dalton School. I think that that is extremely suspicious. Sorry, that is Jeffrey Epstein at the Dalton School. That hair is really something else for me. And then here is her father, Charles Benenson. This is a little timeline from Benenson Capital Partners. Because again, he is one of the biggest real estate moguls in New York, actually in the country, really. So here is the best friend's obituary for her. Right here, it says, like most founders, she began working in animal welfare before we arrived in Kanab. Her pre-best friends work for the animals began in 1980 with the famous Grand Canyon burro rescue, in which 580 burros were at the risk of being shot. Claire ran the office for the operation, and the burros were taken by helicopter out of the canyon and sent to sanctuaries. Claire also worked to end cockfighting in Arizona, pioneered low-cost spay-neuter programs, and in the early days of personal computing, transferred data from IBM punch cards to create a donor database. Oh, did she? That's fascinating. They literally include nothing else. Nothing else here. Which, it is what it is. I'm not surprised, but obviously, I wanted to be able to double check that this is her indeed, since she took a different name, and there she is, Kathy Ives. This is her mother's find a grave, and right here, her mother's obituary. So, real estate, Westchester, right? I'm not going to sit here and read every single little thing, but Mr. Benenson did make a big name for himself, including purchasing the Astor estate, or what is this? The Astor estate buys the site. Oh no, he sold it to the Astors. That was in, let's zoom in, 1955. The Astors are going to become relevant to the process in a few minutes. Making a lot of big deals here, though, right? Including a home here in Scarsdale sold to Mr. Benenson in 1951 from the Vice President Charles Miller of Music Corporation of America Artists Limited. Okay. Now, let's go over here. This was a nice little photo that I found. Some of their architecture. Now, you may be wondering why I included these things over here on the right in regards to the American Jewish Committee and the Jewish Defense, the Joint Defense Appeal. I apologize. The JDA is basically the fundraising arm of the American Jewish Committee and the ADL and B'nai B'rith. Okay, so I have pretty strong feelings about the JDL. But we're going to come back to all of this because today I'm also going to go through my whole Jewish Defense League Son of Sam Helter Skelter thread on Twitter. We're just going to get it out of the way because it's absolutely relevant. It's absolutely relevant that they are on the board of this. And this was just a really old newspaper that I found, kind of laying out the fundraising agencies that fall under the United Jewish Appeal of Greater New York, United Palestine Appeal. I'm not going to say anything about that. The Joint Distribution Committee, United Service for New Americans, Joint Defense Appeal of the American Jewish Committee and the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, the American Jewish Congress, National Jewish Welfare Board, Jewish Telegraphic Agency, and American Friends of the Hebrew University. Now, over here. Sale of Art to AIDS Center, Miss Charles Benenson. So she is the co-chairman of a drive to benefit the Postgraduate Center for Psychotherapy in New York City with a sale of contemporary art. This place, eventually we're going to come back and talk about it because it's very, very bizarre. The Postgraduate Center for Psychotherapy, they were deeply involved in hypnosis back in 1958. And here, Miss Asia L. Caddis, psychotherapist. She has a fascinating resume, including the Postgraduate Center for Psychotherapy, president of the Eastern Group Psychotherapy Association, fellow of the Analytic Group Therapy Society of London, consultant at the Dalton School, New York City, and at the Educational Clinic, Hunter. So there's a lot of interesting money being moved around, right? Some interesting money being moved around. Obviously, again, this is like the most elitist cult ever. It's the most elitist cult ever. Let's go ahead. Let's just keep going. Let's just churn and burn, man, because I've got a lot to get through. So I am going to take a break in a second, though, and wet my whistle, and then I'll look at the chat. But so back to Dad. This is the Reporter Dispatch, October 26, 1966. So right here, this is Dad, right? Whoop. There we go. You better stop it. Okay, so Charles B. Benenson, president of Benenson Realty Company, one of two partners in the newly created Westchester Forum Associates, an alumnus of Yale University. Mr. Benenson is a director of Loews Theaters, Incorporated, and an advisor on real estate for the firm. Since 1933, he has been actively engaged in the development, ownership, and rental of office buildings and other industrial property in New York, Washington, Philadelphia, Chicago, LA, and other major cities. Among the tenants in Benenson buildings are the Chase Manhattan Bank, headquarters of the United States Information Agency, and Eastman Kodak. Mr. Benenson also serves as an advisor on the real estate division of the United Jewish Appeal and the Federation of Jewish Philanthropies. Fascinating. Now, this is the school that he went to, the Richard Rogers School of the Arts and Technology. I just think it's really interesting that J.D. Salinger is one of the renowned students that attended that school. You know, we got real estate, we got architecture, it's just some interesting things to consider. So, now, what does the Astors have to do with anything, right? Well, that is because Mother Maya, Sister Maya, she was an Astor. She was absolutely an Astor. This photo's pretty well known right here. That's her on the left, and Father Reuben, aka Arthur Mendelsohn, on the right. That was taken in Cambridge, February 25th, 1973. And that's her at Best Friends. And down here, this is her from one of the old Process magazines, hanging out in Boston. Right? So, and that's her right there. So, let's go ahead and let's pull up that map. Hopefully I have that one open. I do. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at this one because this ties into the CEO of Best Friends right now, right? Because everybody's just marrying everybody, I guess. I don't really know. So, where is she? Right here. So, Mother Maya. There are all of her AKAs. Maya Astor Drayton, Margaret Astor Drayton, Margaret Caroline Drayton, and M.D. Wiley. That's because she married Timothy Wiley. Yep. So, over here, that is her father, John Astor Drayton. His nickname, way back in the day, and I'm going to show some newspaper articles, was Satan Drayton. This stuff literally just writes itself. And here is her mother, Margaret Rankin Drayton Cliff. She allegedly died of a drug overdose, which is really sad because I think that it was Mother Maya that found her. So, up here, Timothy Wiley. That's who she married, right? Father Micah or Father Jesse. There's his parents, all of his AKAs. But right here, oh, he's cousins with Gregory Castle, Father Mendez, Ira Gregory, aka Andrew Richard Castle, Gregory J. Castle, right? And who is he married to? Oh, he's married to the CEO, right? He's married to the CEO of Best Friends right now, Julie Castle. So, as you can see, it's just a big, big incestuous web, right? It's a big web. It's a big club, right? It's a big club. And I'm glad that I am not in it. Now, I'm going to take a break for a second and then we'll get back into it. But I am going to say hello. And no, I am not scrolling back up in the chat. So, yes, the common thread that runs through the power structure. I'm not going to, whatever. People can have their feelings about it. I don't really care. It's just, it is what it is, right? People have called me like anti-Semitic and a Nazi, and I'm just like, come on, get out of here. That's not true. It's not true. I don't endorse that type of behavior whatsoever, and I'm not behaving that way by pointing things out factually as they are. I'm certainly not going and trying to hunt these things down. But that way I don't offend anybody. I just call it tiny bats. Tiny bats, right? Tiny bats. That way it's just a little fun. And that way nobody's getting their panties in a twist. Yeah. Man, I've got so much to get through. It's only been 38 minutes. Okay. I have my little list over here and I'm like, I got to get through everything, or at least try to get through everything as long as I don't get laggy. Now I think there is nothing reality is anti-Semitic, I guess. I mean, I don't really know. It's people can just, I don't know. Again, it's, take the feelings out of it. That's how I feel. Take the emotions out of it. And just look at things factually and don't get your panties in a twist, because it's really not relevant to the facts at the end of the day. I'm just identifying these people as they are, and we can all move on from there, right? So I think let's go ahead and because we're going to be looking at the Son of Sam blog today too. But let me get Twitter open and get this thread up. It's a long thread, but this will be easier to read than me like trying to walk everybody through it. But I do want to show you guys the stuff about Satan Drayton and her mother dying of a drug overdose, because I do think that it's sad. There were just a lot of very weird high society deaths of that sort at that time. There was like a cluster of them that happened, and I think that it's very strange. Jordan Maxwell said no such thing. No such thing about what? What are you guys talking about? Noticing. Well, I have Jesus CB, but thank you. They've beaten the term to death. Its impact has significantly lessened. Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. It's the exact same thing as calling someone a Nazi. It's words do lose their meaning. Yes, words do absolutely lose their meaning. They lose the power, the weight of the word. So let's go ahead and peek at this and then just read through this thread. I don't know why I'm like bummed out about it. It's a lot and it's old. But right here. So this is Mother Maya's little ancestry tree that I found. Again, that's her mom. Here is her dad. But whoop, right here, they call him Satan Drayton. That's a real wild thing to put in the newspaper in 1941. Yeah, that's a wild thing to see in the papers. And then right here, drink and drug mixture caused death. A 47-year-old woman who was found dead in the kitchen of her flat on Christmas Day was described as a hopeless case of alcoholism by a doctor at the Westminster inquest on Friday. It was on Margaret Cliff but Cliff Drayton, right? So right here, there's her daughter, Miss Margaret Caroline Drayton, said that her mother had suffered from alcoholism and had treatment in a nursing home. She had been prescribed 21 sedative drugs a week, 3 each night. But apparently it was barbiturates and alcohol poisoning. So that is very unfortunate. It is what it is. All right, so let's go ahead. And am I still here with you guys? It's fine. I mean, if people want to troll, it's fine. I don't really care. I was expecting worse, but I don't know why people feel the need to comment on my looks, go nuts. It's just, don't come on YouTube looking for love. The process in part seems to be an operation to roll up the previously existing satanic cults. I agree. That's what I think it is. That's absolutely what I think it is. But in regards to the joint defense appeal, tiny bats. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. Wow, this thread is almost a year old. Okay, so the Son of Sam, the Process Church of the Final Judgment, and the Jewish Defense League. Helter Skelter, coast to coast. Okay, so this is going to be a long one, but we will come full circle to Vincent Bugliosi himself, so bear with me. There are 2 incidents that stuck out to me when I started researching the Son of Sam. Number 1, Wheat Carr's unusual role in the media, though that story has now changed. Let's not forget that story has changed, and it's just like really crazy that nobody bats an eye. But September 22nd, 1977, Wheat saying a lot of people seem to believe that we were connected with the killings. Really connected. Okay. Down here, it's repeated throughout the press that Berkowitz was believed to be the person who threw a Molotov cocktail at the Carr home. It's also repeated how it was a 1 in a million chance that Wheat answered the call that helped capture Berkowitz, right? Now, obviously, this story has changed since then. Let me see if I can zoom this out a little bit and click this and it be legible. So, the Herald Statesman, October 11th, 1976. This is in regards to a Molotov cocktail being thrown into the Carr home, allegedly. And I say allegedly. Very heavy. Okay. So, let's close that. What's going to happen? Cool. All right. I understand that the narrative surrounding that situation has officially changed to discredit the late T. Mo. However, as a reminder, Wheat also worked for the family's answering service. Now, about those cocktails. Among the first to rise to the defense of the Yonkers police following the filing of a second lawsuit against the department in the Son of Sam case were Sam and Wheat Carr. Okay. Nobody thinks that that's weird? I'm not going to sit here and read that article. But, right here. Carr family claimed that David Berkowitz attacked their home on October 11, 1976, although the police stated no motive was known. May 13th, 1976, a 2-minute walk away. So here's another Molotov cocktail attack, right? Look at how close that is. And right here, another Molotov cocktail attack. A couple miles away, a failed attempt is made. A hint of unrest is given by the police, but nothing else. And right here, December 30th, 1976, 1.5 miles away to finish out the year strong. Why were the cars so confident that it was David Berkowitz who attacked their home? There are numerous other reports of such happenings, which I am leaving out for everyone's sanity and mine. Look at how close that is, right? Lots of Molotov cocktails. We're Molotoving all over the place. Number 2, the Process Church of the Final Judgment's purchase of the Pound Ridge Estate in 1973. Until I see proof of records otherwise, it's 73, not 74. In today's money, they spent $2.5 million on the property. They bought it from Lillian Addies. So, just who is she? And right there, here is the article where they are, erroneously identified with Satan-worshipping cults and libelously linked with the cult of convicted mass murderer Charles Manson. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all, but let's keep going. Okay, so she takes the title for one of the hardest people to find. However, she's not my focus. Her family is. Her brother Mickey and father Isidore Block's obituary show how plugged in Lillian Addies was. Her brother was president of the congregation Talmud Torah Adareth El in NYC. And that is her family right there. She was very, very hard to find. Congregation Talmud Torah Adareth El claims to be the oldest synagogue, founded in 1857. The synagogue is not shy about their ties to and support of what some might consider extreme or controversial groups like the World Zionist Organization. And I'm not going to sit here and read all of this because I don't want to get reported. Lillian's sister-in-law, Renee Block, was heavily involved in politics in New Jersey as the vice president of their local United Democratic Club. Lillian is basically non-existent, but it's easy to see her familial ties to power extend beyond New York. And there she is. Back to the process. I've pointed out the strangeness of a group not known for being shy about their fascist Nazi beliefs, claiming to be basically Jewish. 2 days before David Berkowitz was arrested, the Jewish Defense League vandalized the process's Manhattan location. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't it kind of weird that the JDL called and said that they did it? And they just happened to hit the process as well. Okay, whatever you guys say. It was no secret at the time that the Jewish Defense League was involved in what one UN ambassador called gangsterism and Zionist terrorism in New York since at least 1975. Note that the FBI headquarters is cited as being a block away from the latest attack. This is from the Daily News, Wednesday, May 12, 1976. JDL harassed the Russians at the United Nations. Allegedly, supposedly, whatever. So, let's keep going right here. See, the mission is directly across from the East 67th Street station and a block from the FBI's New York headquarters. Hoover enters the chat. The U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence Activities of 1976 shows that as far back as 1970, the FBI was surveilling the JDL's telephone lines in New York. And here is an addendum from the Inspection Division regarding their activity. As a reminder, the Carr family had an answering service, and it was alleged that Wheat bragged about being an informant. Right? This isn't a secret. I don't know why people don't take her at her word, regardless of what she says today. Look at how ghetto that map is. Oh my gosh. Anyways, however, there is an argument to be made that it wasn't just the JDL who was wreaking havoc in New York. Molotov cocktails were also found at the Unification Church. The reason? Unbiased domestic terrorism? Maybe. Operation Chaos? More likely. Why? And fire bombs found at the Moon Estate. This is the Standard Star, June 22nd, 1976. Let's keep going. Sun Myung Moon's ties to the Korean Central Intelligence Agency were up before a congressional subcommittee in Washington. The Moonies' ties to the intelligence community are well established, so I won't belabor the point, because my point is Operation Chaos, right? And right here, June 22nd, 1976, talking about Moon's ties to the KCIA and obviously, to our CIA. Not really breaking new ground here. Obviously, there's quite a stir up within the intelligence community, the cults. What's the difference, am I right? But this wasn't isolated to the East Coast. One case sticks out like a sore thumb: the 1975 JDL car bombing in LA. This is from the Lompoc Record, January 30th, 1975. Two men identified as members of the militant JDL were booked on suspicion of arson following the firebombing of an automobile belonging to the brother of an alleged Nazi war criminal. And this is in regards to John Artukovic. There was a car bomb. His brother, though, and Andrija, I don't know if I'm saying this right, or Andriha. So he was a former minister of the interior of Croatia. The Yugoslavian government accuses Andrija of executing 750,000 Serbs and 20,000 Jews during World War II and has been trying to expedite him since he fled the country at the end of the war. Okay, so I just told you those numbers, right? Note the previous article cites the Croatian government of accusing Artukovic of killing almost 800,000 people. In 1953, this number was 23. It gets even lower the further back you go, and vice versa, right? So right here, whoops, that didn't work. Let's see if that will work. This is from 1952, where deportation of former Croatian official proposed, trying to get him back to their country for his quote-unquote alleged crimes. And I say this very heavily. I'm not here to discuss the Artukovic case. However, David Whitelaw, the UCLA student and member of the JDL arrested for the car bombing, was represented by none other than Vincent Bugliosi. Stay noited, y'all. So, they actually have a documentary about this, as well as a book. Because apparently this was a real big case for old Bugliosi, right? Real big case for old Bugliosi, which is very interesting to me. And right here, in summary, I don't buy that the process bought Pound Ridge from one of the most powerful Jewish families in New York to then be vandalized by the JDL, and that the cars somehow pinned Berkowitz for an attack when the JDL was Molotoving everybody. That seems like helter-skelter. Okay? Hot take, popular take, unpopular take, I don't really know. That's just kind of how I feel. And I actually know someone who is related to or was related to Artukovic. And that case is so complicated. And I do not believe that that man is guilty of what they accused him of at all. That was kind of like how I got onto that whole thread, was looking into the Artukovic case. And it's really tragic what they did to him, because, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about it because it's going to make me upset. But let's go ahead. Let's look at some more stuff from my children PowerPoint, because I think I'm going to save the blog for last. So, if you've been here for a while, you know that the Immigration Services report discussing Sirhan, the process, all of that it was alleged that Claudia Bingham, daughter of Congressman Bingham, was a part of the process. Well, we've confirmed this in 2 ways now. What I'm going to show you first, I don't have the whole magazine. This is what someone sent to me on Twitter. But we at least have a photo of Bingham in the process, which is very exciting. So let me get my window ready, and that way we can see. And then I'm going to show you how I also found it myself. So, right here, a day in the life of a processian. 2 days, actually. That's not her, though. Now, these highlights are from the person that sent it to me. This is the Boston chapter here and a Chicago Halloween party. Obviously, kind of weird that there was a lot of kids there, but where is she? Hold on. Whoop, there we go. Right here. Disciple, Sister Karen Bingham, and her friends at an old folks' home. Gotcha. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. And here they are with mentally retarded children in their Toronto chapter, right? Because they just seem to predate on that community quite a bit. There's their midnight meditation, coffee house, Sister Rebecca and Brother Philip. And again, the Halloween party, right? So, here is Bingham, right here. That's how I found her, right? So, 407 Cole, Claudia R. Bingham, Robert Hall, don't have a middle initial, right? San Francisco Examiner, November 18th, 1967. Remember the court records? Do you remember that? Do you remember? Because I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. 407 Cole. Hugh Mountain, Father Aaron, Aaron Tubal Cain. Oh, and Father Albin, Abraham, John, Christopher, every other name under the book, right? So look at that. Ed Sanders and T. Moe exonerated yet again. Yet again. Now, what did she end up doing? Right here, she ends up joining the Happy, Healthy, Holy Organization, or 3HO, in Washington, D.C. Right? What is this? Why is this the IYC and the magazine, the International Year of the Child, for the United Nations celebration of 1979? Oh, it's the mafia trafficking operation, right? Because we're going to get into that too. But right here, it does detail her father, Jonathan Bingham, a member of the Congress from New York City, blah, 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 talking about her being pregnant. That's him. Oh, and he was a representative on the UN Trustee Council. Isn't that fascinating? Oh, wait. Don't forget. Whoops. Right here. Also, from Westchester County. Can we make it up? Should I keep going? Should I keep going? How many people do we need? Now we have another connection to the United Nations directly from a processian themselves. Death Mask, anyone? Right? Roy Cohn, anyone? Right? Okay. Just pointing these things out because I think that it's weird, right? I think that it's weird. Now, the rest of this, I'm going to kind of churn and burn quickly because some of this we've already gone through. One of these people we have not. I think it's only one. But you guys have seen this on the map, so at least I have this on the little process maps. But there's another Westchester, another UN connection. What else? A connection to another cult, obviously, which I think is interesting. I'm not really focused on, the 3HO thing right now. I looked at it probably I don't know, a year ago and never came back to it because I hadn't confirmed that she was there. But now we know that she's there, right? We know that she's there. Now, I don't have the screenshots, but for those who have been here, you will remember when I identified where Ken from the process, Dominic from the process, where he was. You will remember that a certain other individual suddenly was in contact with Ken almost immediately upon me discovering that. But before I move on, the greatest comment left on my Twitter of all time was that. Was that. Some of us might disagree, but I'm mostly kidding. Anyways, let's go ahead and let's look at Ken from the process, Dominic from the process, right? So there he is. Not going to sit here and focus on this too much, but again, Timo exonerated, even though, according to Ken, as of what, last year sometime, he didn't do anything. Well, of course. What do you think the guy's going to say? Of course he's going to say he didn't do it, right? Look at him though. Is that common, like, wear, like, common proper outfits to wear sandals with a kilt? I don't really know. I can't say. And here is his agency, Dragonuk Connects. It's an entertainment industry network covering the Mid-Atlantic USA. It includes Maryland, D.C., Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and surrounding areas. The guy who opened up this agency is a really interesting fella, and I will be coming back to this at some point, but here's his profile. Very serious headshot. And right here, Ken McNaughton, physicist, actor, photographer, Ellicott City resident. Why did I include this? Whoops. Because right here, oh, look, he's lived in London, Paris, Rome, Mexico, the Bahamas, Chicago, New Orleans, New York, and Cambridge, Massachusetts with a traveling commune. That's what he calls the process, is a traveling commune. Isn't that cute, right? It's adorable. But who else do we have that's tied to Westchester County, right? Don't forget, we've already talked about this. Emmett Dwyer. Yeah? Now, this is something that we're going to be coming back to because, according to Timothy Wiley, and nothing has refuted this thus far, so if we're going by the process narrative, then it's his mother who introduced the process to Tommy Jude Baumler. That's weird. That's very strange to me. But let's go ahead and continue. We've already looked at this. Remember the Pasternaks, right? We've already got all that. Remember, they were in Westchester. Mamaroneck. I know I'm going to say it right. Mamaroneck. I have no idea. Yeah. Okay, great. Here's all the stuff that we talked about the last time that we looked at this, right? Now here is a new individual that I found from Ed's files. Stuart de Volschier Waddles. Recruited June 8th, 1968 for the New York chapter. This is his mother. It's quite scandalous, I guess, at the time. Him and his parents were getting a divorce. It was about adultery, but it was very, very scandalous. I was like, oh, the tea is hot, and we gotta serve it. I am so glad that I was not alive at this time. But there's just a little bit of history. Oh, but his dad was a Harvard man and the head of the United Nations legal department. Another UN connection. Another one and another one. There is a photo of them. I got this off of Ancestry, and it doesn't tell me who's who, unfortunately. Very beautiful woman, but apparently a little Tatiana, right? Little Tatiana. Now, you might see right here, this is talking about Omaha, right? Well, whoops. Let me zoom out of that. That's because this processian's father, their family basically built what we know as Omaha today. And that is the same Omaha of the Franklin scandal, right? So, here is his find a grave, Gurdon Wallace Waddles Jr. Obviously, I did highlight the UN Office of Legal Affairs. He was involved in a lot of strange stuff, including the International Atomic Energy Agency. Okay, real weird. But his father was the 11th Aksar Ben King in 1905. He was president of the Trans-Mississippi Exposition and the Omaha Street Railway System. So, very big family, big money here, right? Now, Waddles, this guy, he was in a weird group, right? I'm assuming that this is where the process probably recruited him from, right? This band. This is the Daily Sentinel, December 30th, 1967. So it's called the Agape, a former rock and roll group which has composed a folk rock mass. And over here, they used to be called the Drunken Lords, right? I think that that's interesting. But now they're a Jesus group, right? I don't know if they would fall into like the Jesus freaks thing. But down here, this details where they get their recording done, which is Scepter Records. Scepter Records didn't last too long. However, this was one of their releases, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, April 2nd, 1971. This was the one that was the most interesting to me, though, when we are considering Sharon Tate, Charles Manson, all of this stuff. So Diane Warwick and Valley of the Dolls on Scepter Record. It's kind of interesting, right? Monday, March 18th, 1968. I think it's a little bit interesting. So, this is him now. Well, I mean, recently, 2007, right? So, this guy, I'm just going to give my opinion. And I'm not going to read this entire thing. This dude is a scumbag. The Waterloo Region Record, Saturday, March 20th, 2004. So, they are opening a play here. How I Learned to Drive. I believe that's what it's called. Yes, it is How I Learned to Drive. That's what it says. Okay, but right here, director Stuart Skadron Waddles commented on the difficulties of finding the balance in presenting a play about pedophilia with such unconventional humor and compassion for those involved. I have an idea. Could go get a wood chipper and we could just wrap it up, right? We could wrap it up. What makes this incredibly unique is that in the telling of the story, we, the audience, arrive at a point of compassion for both people. It's actually quite shocking in the end to realize that you have come to that place. You can take this play and shove it up your rear end where the sun doesn't shine, right? That's how I feel about that. So that tracks for me as far as the process. I think that these people are garbage. It is what it is. I don't really know what to tell people. I have very strong feelings about that kind of stuff, and this, in my opinion, just kind of tracks with the concept of like social engineering, right? To me, that's how I feel. This is, whether you want to call it Esalen, Tavistock, the meshing of that sort of concept with cults, whether it's Scientology, the process, best friends, these terms are interchangeable to me. I know not everybody feels that way. But I have very strong opinions about that topic of pedophilia and feeling any type of compassion. Sorry, I get that some people would disagree with me, but I think that that's completely disgusting. Let's go ahead. I might just save Bainbridge. How long have I been going? An hour and 10? Damn it. All right, I only have a couple more things to get through on this one. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so you guys saw the map, right? With the Batistas. And oh wait, no, I don't think I've shown it yet. Hold on. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to wet my whistle before I move on. Because I have not shown that map, and I need to. That way, I can put things into perspective. And I'm going to look at the chat for a second really quick. It's a lot of information, man. I'm just trying not to leave anything off of my list today. That's all I'm trying to do. Michael Franchese went to prison for racketeering charges and shaking down Diane Warwick. Oh, I didn't know that that was Whitney Houston's first cousin. That's crazy. Damn. Okay. Noted. Good eye. And a ditch witch, yes. Please be careful. You see. Oh, well, thank you, R. Marie. I'm fine. I don't own a wood chipper either. I'd happily, like, ride one out there, though, right? Okay. Let's look at this map. Gonna bang through a couple of these slides quickly. Probably gonna save Bainbridge. And then we'll get to the blog and the DeMeo stuff. Because I want to talk about the DeMeo stuff. Since other people seem to be really upset about it. Which doesn't really make sense to me. So, here we go. Another map that we have, right? So, right here. This is the Nasser family. Okay. What does that have to do with anything? Well, here we have Father Job, aka Sammy Nasser, Sammy M. Nasser, one of the OGs right here. Mother Ophelia Rhea Benedicte, aka Isabel Ann Nasser, Charity Rennie, Charity Isabel Nasser, Charity Benedicte. Lucifer's advocate, right? But here we have Judah Batista, but he also goes by Judah Nasser. So that's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird. Well, that's because down here we have Alfred Francis Batista, who also comes from Westchester County. Yeah? And then over here, his old lady, Gillian Ione Lorien Silva Batista, or Silva Lorien. Right? Who is the real father? I don't know. I have no idea who the real dad is, but it's one of them. It's one of them. I think I'm going to go with Alfred. He looks more like Alfred Francis to me than he does Sammy Nasser. And over here is Sammy Nasser's brother, Camille Nasser, who is on Twitter, because this is a futuristic hellscape, Brother Absalom. Okay? So, again, Westchester, right? Because don't forget, when I showed that about the Batistas, they were on the same realty board, whatever, as Mrs. Real Estate. Because I say Mrs. Real Estate, because that's my opinion. Okay? That's just, and I don't see why that's a crazy thing to say, because a lot of these cults are headed by women. So, let's go ahead and churn and burn through the rest of this. So you just saw the one picture down on the right, the man that rescues dogs from fighting rings. A lot of controversy about some of this stuff, but he is the chief sanctuary officer, and they do list him as a co-founder, which is interesting since he's technically a kid of some of the founders, right? I think it's kind of interesting. And here he is with Michael Vick's meanest dog. This is November 24th, 2011. Obviously, I think it's interesting this because, well, you know, Timothy Wiley said that Marianne de Grimston was mauled by Vic's dogs on the property, and that's how she died. Is it true? Who knows? Now, this we're going to be coming back to, and I'm hoping that some of these names will stick out to somebody else, but as of 3 days ago, 2025, the year of our Lord, this is the year of no kill, right? This is the year that the process claims that we're going no kill everywhere. So it's their year. This is the Lifeline Animal Project. And the 2025 steering committee, Judah is on the board, as is his father. We've got a lot of Processians on here. Gregory Castle, Julie Castle. But we've got, as you can see, a lot of people from other humane networks, humane societies, different alliances. I am absolutely going to be coming back to that because this one right here, Maddie's Fund, this is one of the biggest funders of the process, or best friends when they first started. A lot of the money came from Maddie's Fund, and this ties into some old tech stuff, okay? And right here, This is a tweet from June 17th, 2024. And I promise it'll make sense in a second. So, Donna Zullo, former Army counter spy and LA County Sheriff's deputy, went to the Process Church of the Final Judgment, aka Best Friends Animal Society, loved it so much she retired from the Army, then went on to spearhead the Death with Dignity movement. It's a death cult. It is a death cult. So, this is her, right? We just looked at her. She also works with the Peninsula Friends of Animals because these people are always involved in animal advocacy. I do not know why. Now, this, I was able to find a little bit of history about her, right? The timing of her being a deputy sheriff in LA is very interesting. But she was the special agent in charge of the Fort Jackson Resident Office for Military Intelligence. Whoop, whoop, go back. You little, no, go back. The other way. Thank you. Okay. And it's frozen, isn't it? Dang it. Hold on. Yep, it's frozen. Hold, please. I got butterfingers. Hopefully the computer isn't freezing on me because it's freezing on my end. All right. So, because she's related to these people. Ready? Okay. Right here. Why isn't it working? Dang it. Well, let me zoom in this way. Come on now. Don't be like that. Nope. It's not going to let me zoom in at all. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this right here. So she helped train FBI, CIA, and all branches of the service for military and civilian training. She also served in intelligence collection in Berlin. She also had a master's degree in dairy husbandry. Why do I think that that's relevant to anything? Well, because the process was involved in animal husbandry. That's what one of the businesses was listed as, right? But right here, Kathy Godby, Corey Kathleen Godby, was married to Judah Nasser, right? Married to Judah Nasser. They're sisters. This is his sister-in-law. They have different last names, but this is his sister-in-law. So we've got literal military intelligence marrying in via Judah, as far back as I've been able to track. And now they're doing their own thing in Washington State with this whole, peninsula animal thing, right? I think that that's really weird. I just think that it's strange. I didn't realize when I found her that that was the case, that, they were related, but I went back and looked and I'm like, oh no, they're definitely related. They're absolutely related. So not only military or army intelligence, a counter spy who in all of these interviews, she's talking about, fighting a silent war, mind war, right? Let's think of Michael Aquino, sort of. And then she's also spearheading the Death with Dignity movement, which is not working out very well for people who have been paying attention to that. Hasn't really been going the way that one would think that it would, unless it's supposed to operate this way, which, in my opinion, I think that it is, kind of created to fail. But let's keep going. So right here, Donna Zullo, Sequim's champion for choice at the end of life. So she was the client support volunteer for the first 3 patients who used the Washington Death with Dignity Act. And she was there with the first person who ever used it. Ever in the country. Ever. I think that that's very strange. I think that it's very strange. And here she is. Lieutenant Colonel Donna M. Zullo, U.S. Army. That's her in the middle. She got the firm granted U.S. contract. Apparently, this Thorlo sports socks, padded socks for military personnel and their dependents. I'm absolutely going to be coming back to this because I think that there's something weird going on in here with her. I just thought that it was really interesting and I wanted to show you guys. And hopefully, all right, that's all that we got because I'm not going back over the Batistas. I've already covered that. We know that the Batistas are from Westchester, and now we're just making this big circle, right? Because when they're doing like this weird wife swapping thing, it's just a big circle. Just a big circle. Who's talking about dog blood? Whenever a gang asked us to join in the 70s, they wanted us to drink dog blood. We were like, nah, we don't drink dog blood. We don't drink any blood. Well, I don't, I think it's been a while since I've shown it on here, and I don't even know that I have, but there's a book out there that, talks about these old police reports in California where, you know, they were talking about mixing LSD with dog blood for these weird, like, sex magic rituals. I don't know why people think that's so crazy. It is what it is. Like, people are going to do what they're going to do, right? Now, I said, got two more things. I'm not showing Bainbridge today. That's not happening. But guess what? Bainbridge comes from Westchester, too. Yeah, Yonkers. Don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. But I'll come back to that. So, we're going to look at the Son of Sam Files blog. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, exactly. Any Kurtz talk about getting like serious diseases. Yeah. Ew. Ew. Oh, thank you, Gina G. I'm not going to sit here and like read the whole thing. People like the blog. They don't like the blog. That's fine. Don't really care. Nate's my homeboy, and I try to plug it as often as I remember to. But I was looking at some of the comments there, and I said in the beginning that my new motto is die mad, right? So that's kind of where we're gonna kind of circle in and end things off. And hopefully the comments on this blog are still there. Let me see. They are. Okay, so. Whoops. Oh no. Okay, so I already showed you guys the stuff from Timo's files about the process, right? And how there's very obviously obfuscation of information on some of those files with the post-it notes. Are they referencing like the, the episode number, slide number? I have no idea. No clue. But it's clear that things are being obfuscated. Why would you cross out people's eyes? Don't know. Seems kind of weird. Doesn't seem like a serious person would do that, right? And why are they protecting certain people's information? So, let's go ahead. Let's look at the blog. Because I'm pretty sure that I know who's leaving these comments. As a reminder to people, it wasn't me who released any of these files. I literally don't even know who sent them to me. To this day, the first person that sent me Timo's files, I still don't know who that person is. And I don't think that they'll ever identify themselves. So this is from January 2nd, 2025. Queens reconsidered, right? Happy New Year. I had every intention of laying out David's role in the reopening of the Queen's investigation because there is quite a lot to discuss, as David was very busy with his Clue campaign. Yet, while working on it, I reached a point where I started to worry that I was basically explaining The Ultimate Evil to people who should have read it but refuse, and to people who have read it but don't understand it, not to mention the rest of you good folks who don't need your hands held. Is it really my problem if you haven't read it? Nope. What about people who have read it, but can't comprehend what it says? Well, those people have proven to be absolutely hopeless, so fuck them. That's, kind of how I feel. But here he's pointing out some discrepancies in these letters. I would encourage people to look. You guys can see what he's talking about. Now, I'm going to go down here to these comments. Because sometimes you see some good tea in here, right? So, right here, and I hope that you're watching, person that I suspect wrote this, anonymous. Some things should be held and not dumped out there for everyone. This includes dumping on the Internet Archive before documents, including source names, suspect names, associate names, witness names, are vetted properly. I have one doc that I've been trying to authenticate, cross-reference some material with other documents I have that are sensitive, and I was extremely disappointed to find the document recently uploaded to the Internet Archive. No idea who provided the person with the document, but I know it came from me. The document should not have been distributed. Very over how this community data dumps. Okay? Maybe some people are tired of all the gatekeeping from the various factions, all of the factions involved, whether they be on the psycho circus side of the aisle or the supposed white hat side. I've seen more gatekeeping and agendas in this case than I've seen in any other 5 cases I follow combined. And down here, someone leaves a comment. If you're talking about the G. Kelly document, this is the Atlanta child murder Son of Sam document. No, it didn't. I told you I had that document since February. I kept it to myself, but once I saw that it was circulating, I gave it to the person who posted it. I don't know who's leaving all of these comments. But here's my sticking point. Arguably, investigative journalists take an oath to protect names. Same with the field of criminology. A premature release of names can hamper an investigation, and it can cause vigilantism. I've seen documents that have very sensitive information, including social security numbers, and if a person is alive, their names should be redacted. Unclear who the psycho circus is or the white hats, but I am personally not okay with people getting injured or harassed on my watch. Too many people died early in this case, and David Berkowitz has a slash on his neck for talking. But maybe really no one gives a crap about people's safety in this case, including David. They just want their answers. This is why investigations should be left to people who are qualified investigators. I figure if I do not want my name doxed through social media, I am certainly not up for maintaining a double standard. There are a lot of people who complain about getting doxed and then turn around and dump docs. Pretty damn egocentric, which is why I am very much over the vast majority of the people in this community. Okay? And this person says, the above comment is transparent in the sense that if you've ever been in touch with this person, I'm assuming that this is talking about me, their identity is clear, possibly for the lack of self-awareness all by itself. How do you broker other people's secrets, then turn around and claim safety for all? Talk about a double standard. You only want safety for yourself and the people who remain in your good graces. Everyone else gets trampled. Oh, okay. And right here today, didn't you co-author with the dude that dumped the Maury Terry files completely and 100% unredacted right out there on the internet for all to see? I thought so. Has he done the same with other docs since? Yep. In case no one noticed, the G. Kelly doc on the archive is redacted. I'm not going to be accused of things that I have not done. And I know who this person is. They seem to have their panties in a twist because I do not plug their work. And I'm not going to start today. If you know, as far as who released Timo's files, right? Who have I put at risk? I did redact the G. Kelly doc. Maury's files are as is. I don't have to redact a damn thing on Maury's files. I'm not the one that put them out there for everybody, right? And the idea that I am encouraging vigilantism or I don't know, risking someone's safety, and that if you're not in the good graces, then I'm just gonna, throw you under the bus. No. If you act shady, we're gonna go toe to toe about it. Usually these people double down, and then it's okay. Gloves off, right? Gloves off. Because you note how the comment said that they had co-authored something, right? So we can assume that this person is a writer, maybe a blogger. This individual may or may not be in contact with the person at the center of the case, David Berkowitz, right? Now, I would like to think, and obviously if I'm wrong, people can tell me. It's not that I don't accept criticism, but if I have done something to disrespect or be rude or insinuate that, David should be put in danger, I would love to know. Because I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to keep it brief. But this is something that has been used to say that I'm not a serious person and that I'm causing problems in regards to another Son of Sam character out here, that I'm bringing unwanted or negative attention. What is it related to? Me bringing up, positing the theory about Roy DeMeo and the Voskerichian shooting. I don't care if you think that it's stupid. I think it's dumber for people to think that all of those sketches, that most of them look nothing like David Berkowitz, that we're supposed to believe that that's David Berkowitz. I do think that it looks like Roy DeMeo. I'm not saying this as fact, but me pointing that out was used to basically say, like, to tell David Berkowitz that, like, oh, these aren't serious people, i.e. me and the people that I research with, because I posited a theory. If this case was open and shut, people wouldn't still be talking about it, right? There would be nothing to debate if it was so factual. And again, I don't tell people what to think. I simply posited a theory that I found really interesting. And in finding that, and I know that your ass didn't tell David this part because it doesn't fit your narrative. In positing that theory, I went back and I was able to find the process working directly with the fucking mafia. So while it may not be Roy DeMeo, and while you may think that it's silly that I posited the theory and you want to weaponize that and, not include that you may or may not have had to clarify that, like, you weren't blaming the Son of Sam crimes on a band, which is, but you're qualified, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and let's just take a peek at this really quick. So, Processian Estelle Myers, former PR consultant for Rupert Murdoch, who quit to research dolphins, was producer for the International Children's Appeal, the phony UN charity used to launder mafia money. Jimmy Savile helped raise funds for one of the first events under the ICA umbrella. Let's click this and see how far I can zoom in. Let's see. So, December 21st, 1978, Jimmy Savile talking about the IYC, the International Children's Appeal, ICA, to support the International Year of the Child. And there he is. Oh, look, that was the logo that we saw with the photo of Claudia Bingham. I'm really getting mumble mouth here, right? That logo, same logo. Yeah. And right here, the International Children's Appeal, Estelle Myers, who is now based in New York, is the producer. And right here, Estelle Myers, International Year of the Child, International Children's Appeal. The Foundation Faith. She joined immediately and has become one of the most ardent believers and followers. And again, right here, Estelle Myers, the woman who became famous in the 1970s for leaving her job as a PR consultant to Rupert Murdoch to research dolphins. Right? And then here is the gala for this event that Jimmy Savile was raising money for, and the mailing address for the mafia money, the laundering of this. And as a reminder, DeMeo was involved in the International Children's Appeal, a phony UN charity front laundering mob money from auto theft rings moving vehicles to Iran and Kuwait, the sale and distribution of child pornography, weapons smuggling, and usury. Okay? So, if you're gonna tell a story, tell the whole story. Because now, that's literally the only proof that we have thus far that the process was working with the mafia. And I truly don't think that I would have understood what to look for about the International Children's Appeal if the lead about DeMeo had not been brought forward to me. And again, it's just pointing out some interesting things with DeMeo. I'm not telling you guys what to think. But using that to say that I'm not a serious person, I would highly disagree. I haven't blamed anything on a band. And I haven't seen any factual information put out refuting anything that I have presented. And I would be happy to be wrong. But I think that that's going to be kind of impossible for people to do in regards to the Son of Sam sketches. Because that is the thing that is extremely unique about this case. Is that almost none of the sketches look like David, despite the insistence of some. And I don't, particularly have feelings one way or the other about how David feels, whether he likes me or not, but to insinuate that I am doing something to harm someone when I have redacted that information that you've complained about. And if you're working with the individual who released Timo's files unredacted, does David know what that individual has said about him? Because I have a ton of emails where that individual has said some really horrible things about David. Just curious, how honest we're going to be here. Just curious. I think I'm going to leave it here for now. I did not get to Bainbridge. That was the only thing that I was not able to check off of my list. And no, that's not all of the children. That's just all I have for you right now. Because, God, that took an hour and 40 minutes, and I feel like I'm freaking cross-eyed and can't think. LaRouche thought the process took over when Murder Inc. was rounded up by Rico Rudy. Yeah, LaRouche has some interesting takes, and there's some interesting leads about the process. It's just, LaRouche didn't give all of the information that was necessary. Which obviously I think is on purpose, right? It's kind of part of this whole, confusion, disinformation campaign. But there were some leads that literally just came from LaRouche that we were able to track down. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. Because I forgot about that. And I do want to bring that back up about the process thrift store that Markham Incorporated, John Markham. IYL was 1979, same year the Atlanta child murders began, and 13 years after the birth of Rosemary's Baby. Well, okay. Jim, you know what? Hold on. Hollis Keith is just over here, like, ripping some stuff. Hold on. I'm going to pull back up my Twitter, because I didn't know that Jim Brading was Jewish Mafia. Okay, hold on. Uno momento. Let me pull that up really quick. Hold on. Because I found some fascinating stuff about Brading. Hold, please. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me wet my whistle. So, good night, Nemesis and Hades. Thank you for being here. Sorry. Tried to keep it together. Tried to stay on track. Hey, it's the first stream of the year. At least I got through my list, right? So, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but now I have to. Because this is going to be not a point of contention, but an area of focus here soon. We're going to talk about, like, all of the weird serial killers that are tied to Scientology, and how a former Scientologist basically said that Scientology is perfect for creating serial killers, which I think is just a really fascinating take. However, so I was looking through, I think it's the Kavares documents. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys this little thread that I have here that I made on Twitter since he brought up Brading, because I did not know that he was a part of the Jewish Mafia. So, are we up? Cool. Right here, Scientology's internal records cite Eugene Brading, aka Jim Braden, of JFK infamy, as being a Scientologist, and a memo heavily focused on the Process Church of the Final Judgment, aka Best Friends, and Manson adjacent crimes. And right here, Eugene Brading, aka Jim Brading, may be associated with the 2 Kennedy murders and with Scientology. And something about the IRS in Las Vegas with him. Okay, so, and that is a photo of him. I believe that's in Dealey Plaza. So, right here, knowing his connection to David Ferry begs the question. If we are to believe the process narrative of how they met Tommy Jude Baumler Jr., who was Marianne de Grimston working with or for stateside to facilitate the relationship? Where are the rest of these Scientology documents? Because you guys saw William Dwyer, Emmett Dwyer, his mother, Victoria Fleming, who ran the Seven Seas bar. She's the connection, but it was Marianne de Grimston that introduced the process to Thomas Jude Baumler Jr. of JFK infamy, right? What did Sharon Tate hear about Sirhan Sirhan, and why did the process order the hit? Why is Scientology involved in everything it seems, yet it's rarely discussed or vehemently denied? The process, Best Friends Animal Society, is the same as Scientology and seems to be the biggest missing puzzle piece. So, that's all I have to say about that for now. Because, yeah, I want to talk about that more in depth. I want to talk about the other serial killers, like serial killers, murderers that are tied to that, because it's really weird that Brading is cited in a memo where they're talking about the Gall and Sharp murders and how, like, Scientology was already so in bed with the police way back then. Way back then. There's just a lot to talk about there, but I am kind of glad that Hollis Keith brought that up. We will revisit it at another time. I appreciate everyone's patience with me today. I'm going to get back in the groove. I feel like I say that every time. But everyone stay safe. I will talk to you all soon, and stay weird, y'all.